Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast. It's September 21st. As always, this is your boy Hirsch. And with me, as always, is Mike.
What's going on?
And the hype man, Wes.
Go Gators.
Go Gators. Hey, Gator Nation. First off, we want to give y'all a big shout out for helping us reach a new milestone, 10,000 downloads. And we couldn't have done it without each and every one of y'all's support that have been down since day one. And if you're not downloading the podcast, now's a good time to start, guys. Go out there, check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or wherever you may get your podcast from, we're there. So go ahead and give us a download. But if you don't want to download us, check us out on our YouTube channel. On YouTube, you can find us under Respect Our Decision. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time we upload new content. We're uploading stuff all the time. And check us out there. I want to give a big shout out to our newest patron, Brandon Stewart. Thank you so much, Brandon, for your support. And if you would like to help us and support us as creators, you can also become a patron at patreon.com, Respect Our Decision. And in the future here, in the next week here or so, we'll be going to doing a giveaway. And we're going to have some other good content to come, such as exclusive interviews, Q&As, things of that nature. We're going to have a lot of things planned for our patrons out there. So thank you very much. And as always, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Camwood Supplements. And you want to go ahead and visit camwoodsupplements.com. You can find all kinds of supplements there to help you with your workout, your post-workout, and even help with your digestive system. So go ahead and check it out. camwoodsupplements.com. Use code RESPECT20 to save 20% off your purchase. But with that being said, guys, we're going to jump right into it like we always do every week. We're going to start off with a little coverage of Friday night, as we like to call it, Under the Lights, as we do every week on Twitter. And our man Wes is going to hit us with some of the highlights and info on our recruits and our commitments. Wes?
Appreciate it, Hirsch. Under the lights on Friday, this past Friday, we have a first-time guy on the list this time, Tyree Patterson. He had a big night. He had 12 catches, guys, 167 yards and a TD. Big night for Tyree. One of the big nights as far as Star Watch, we had our commit, Jakeem Jackson. He faced off against our target, a heavily coveted target in Kamari McLean. I was about to say Kamari Wilson. Kamari McLean. Coach Raymond was there along with Coach Pigler. They were both there to watch him. Jackson played both sides of the ball. He was playing receiver. He did go against Kamani on these two plays, but he had a 42-yarder on a bubble screen, and then he had a 68-yarder. So big night for Jakeem. He tweeted after the game that they didn't even throw to his side. So we're just going to point out what he did on the offensive side of the ball. Kamani didn't get tested much, but they did make the mistake of trying to test him in the third quarter. And, the five-star guy did what he does as the best corner in the country coming out, and he got a pick on the night. So good showing out for those guys. I'm pretty sure Coach Raymond and Coach Pigler had a lot to see. Moving on, Creed Whitmore. I mean, this guy has continued to be to me, in my opinion, one of the best athletes in the country. He's playing quarterback for his high school. He had 2 long TD runs. One was 51 yards. The other one was 40 yards. I can't wait to see this kid on campus. I know, Mike, we talked about it before the pod tonight that, hopefully we get some electricity at punt return, and I can see Creed kind of making an impact early on next year, probably playing that position. So big shout out to Creed as he continues to does what he does. Treon Webb, I mean, what more can we say about this kid? He's one of the leaders in the class, as we can see, kind of recruits guys. He's there every week. He got his 7th TD of the year. Moving on to a target of ours, Caden McDonald. He's a D tackle, but he has been lining up in the backfield for his high school. probably on more of a short yardage goal line situation. He got his third TD of the year. And a guy I wanted to highlight that just came to me, guys, Hirsch and Mike. Excuse me for not putting that in there, but Kelby Collins. He had 15 tackles on Friday with 2 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. I mean, we battled Alabama for him. We got him I don't want to say last minute, but we got in on him. We took him from Nick Saban. So I want to shout out Kelby Collins. Whenever you be the recruit for Nick Saban, that is big. And the fact that he had 15 tackles playing D-line with 2 sacks and 4 tackles for loss, I mean, that was sick. So I wanted to shout out him out. And you guys got anything you want to say about any of the guys that I had as far as Friday night? And by the way, if you guys are following us on Twitter before Mike and Hirsch speak, make sure you follow Hirsch on Friday nights. I Respect Our Decision Twitter account. Hirsch does a good job of tweeting these guys out and saying what they did on the night and trying to follow them and highlighting their performances. And we selected a lot of the guys that had some big nights, and we talk about them on the podcast, but he kind of has more than what we're saying here. So Hirsch, Mike, you guys want to say anything about any of the guys that we had on?
Well, yeah, it's thanks for highlighting that. It's we definitely provided a nice thread for all the individuals that are the commits. It's actually titled Under the Lights, so I highly encourage you guys to check it out. But no, I like how you said defensive tackle. He's a nose tackle and he's an athlete and he's a must get. But we don't need to dive any further into that because it's a must say. One thing you said, and I wouldn't call it bad, but I would rephrase it because I want to we give too much credit to Nick Saban. I mean, yes, he's elite. He's the best coach of all time. We get it. But we've proved over and over, coach over coach, even Max took a kid from him with Eddie Pinheiro. I don't care if he's kicker or not. He was a must get for them, and he wanted him. I'm tired of hearing, we beat him out. I forgot the exact phrase you used. We took him from Saban. No, Saban did not have him. No, yeah, he didn't. Saban never had him. Okay, he wanted him maybe. Okay, cool. We battled for him. I'll take that. We stuffed Nicholas Saban in a locker for him, and we also stuffed Dennison in a locker, and we're gonna stuff Cormani in a locker. So I'm getting tired of those Saban. Listen, it's the second year in a row, and technically we stuffed him in a locker for James as well. All right. So I'm getting tired of the whole, we took him from – no, he never had him. We've proven in-state, out-of-state, doesn't matter. Fair game.
I just wanted to add a quick note on Jakeem Jackson from our friend Connor Clark was at the game last Friday night, and his exact words about Jakeem Jackson was, he is him, meaning he is an absolute shutdown athlete. He is going to, we talk about Cormani and whatnot, and Jakeem Jackson has kind of been the, forgotten cornerback in this class. And from everything I've seen of him and heard about him now, we may want to pay a lot more closer attention to Jakeem Jackson because I think he's gonna make some noise.
And I think that was Raymond. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was Raymond's his baby.
Yes, Raymond's high on the kids. Yeah, so that's all you need to know. 247
initially, and now he's right around 150.
Yeah, he's one of those that he could easily end up being a top 100 before it's all said and done.
Correct, but
if people do their job evaluating, but we're not going to get into that because that's it's what we do. We're going to move in on some recruiting updates real quick before we do the breakdown for the week. Biggest news of the week, obviously, we touched on it just very briefly at the end of our Raw Reaction episode because it had happened just that day. But we wanted to save that for this episode because that's more about what this is about. Was the commitment of 2024 running back Chauncey Bowens, who's ranked 242 in the composite and 13th position. He plays at the Benjamin School in North Palm Beach. Currently measures in at 5'11", 215 pounds. Big bruiser of a back. If you want a comparison, I think he favorably compares to what we have on the roster now in Montrell Johnson. very similar size, running style, and I think that's what the staff sees in him. And but don't make any mistake about it. This kid, as of now, as far as I've heard it, the staff was always planning to take 2 running backs, and he's back. I don't want to call him back 2 because I don't want to insult the kid's ability, but they're going to go after the Jarrett Gibsons. They're going to go after the Stacey Gages. They're going to go after that one home run back, if you will.
He's not the primary target.
He's not the primary. He's
that's the best. That's the best I can do.
He's back 2, and I don't ever want to say that in a negatory kind of way because, I mean, we all see the running backs are going to play in this offense, so it doesn't matter. I mean, and the best kids are gonna get their playing time. So
yeah, it's not.
What's that, Wes?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not a bad thing. I mean, if you look at it, you would say Trevor Etienne, is the more talented back. But look at him in Montreal. Montreal is still a monster. So you get that more explosive guy with that guy, and you good.
And at his size and whatnot, he may be more physically ready to play year 1 than anybody. So. Exactly. We'll just have to see. You always have to wait and see when these kids get on campus who the real players are and who they're not. They weed themselves out pretty quick. To more recruiting news off the commitment, UCF defensive tackle commit John Walker was unable to make it for a 3rd week in a row to watch us play South Florida, but it was only because he was unable to get a ride to the game. Him and Jordan Castell were in the same boat on that. Jordan was supposed to come, and he couldn't make it as well due to a not being able to get a ride up.
Sorry to cut you off. I mean, someone should have told me. I would have brought him.
It was out there. I don't know what to tell you.
I was in the trenches, man.
I mean, I don't know, man.
I take it back. No, back then it wasn't. Sorry.
Keon Keeley. Everybody knows about Keon Keeley. Keon Keeley will be visiting OSU this weekend, Ohio State University, for the 2nd time in about a month. A lot of people say Florida, a lot of people say Alabama, but Ohio State is squarely in the mix on this recruitment. And I might even call them the dark horse in this one because, they like to take kids from Florida, something that we need to put a stop to, but it is what it is right now.
That D-line coach.
Yeah, Akua Rasal and James Smith, the defensive line combo from Alabama, the highly regarded defensive line combo from Alabama, are still considering taking a visit for the an official visit for the LSU weekend, but that's still up in the air as to if that's going to happen or not. But both are very intrigued on what Florida has to offer, per Chad Simmons at On 3. And speaking of On 3, they redid their rankings this week, and a few just notable things as far as the Gators are concerned. Cameron James came in at number 33 in their new rankings. Eugene Wilson moved all the way up to 36th in the rankings. Aiden Mizell came in at number 50. And TJ Searcy rounded out our top 100 recruits at number 94. And let's see, I'm trying to remember who else was up in there. Kelby Collins was at 123. So he's right there on the cusp of making it in the top 100. And he keeps having performances like he did last week. And I don't think that'll be hard for him to make it. So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much all we have to talk about in recruiting right now. It's kind of quiet. Things are kind of quiet on the recruiting front right now. I'm sure they're going to pick up as we get closer to having some official visits. And when we get back home for our next game against Eastern Washington. Right after our episode came out last week, the new rankings came out. And yeah, you may have heard the Gators fell to 20th, which isn't surprising given our performance against South Florida. So, but we have a chance this week to make a move back up as we take on the number 10 Volunteers. And we're going to have a man in the trenches again as Mike is going to make his way up to Knoxville tomorrow. Mike in the trenches is back.
It'll be a thread.
And we'll have some good photos. I'm sure a lot of orange will be in them. It'll be disgusting.
And check out YouTube as well, guys. Check out it's going to be on all of our social media channels.
As YouTube. Mike goes
everywhere.
Deep into enemy territory. But with that being said, guys, we're going to do it like we do every week. We're going to go ahead and talk about this game, and we're going to start with the Tennessee breakdown with Mike. Mike, what you got?
Oh, well, really quick before we get into that, what did you guys think about Kitna being named QB2?
I don't think it matters.
It's fair.
I mean,
does it matter?
To me,
well, just in terms of injury,
it says what I've kind of been saying all along. It's the reason why he's kind of not been pulled yet. Maybe if Jack Miller was healthy, then he might have been pulled. But that just tells me that he's not. What we have behind him is not.
As of this recording as well, guys, the depth chart was just released, and Napier just had his press conference and announced that Jack Miller is in fact out again this week. So that's what we're basing this conversation on.
And lastly, before Tennessee, just AR has signed a deal listed today with Champ Sports. So, I mean, guys, that
good old Champ Sports. Champion, not Champs.
It's just Champs.
I think it was Champion.
Either one. What do you guys think about that? Pretty sure it's Champs.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
it doesn't matter to you all. You're just happy for the kid. I mean, no, I just ask because there's certain people, like there are certain people, especially if someone's not playing well, they don't like that. So, I mean, I think a conversation at least has to be entertained.
I'm for one that doesn't like to speak about what if another man's pocket. So I'm not going to speak on his pockets. So I'm happy for him. More power to him, and hopefully he can give them not champion, but the fans that doubt why is he doing this. And
Mike's right. It's Champs. I'll take the hit on that one.
I tried to give you guys like 8
it
different
said Champion Apparel in the tweet, so I got lost.
Yeah, AR's tweet did mention. I was trying to be nice, but yes,
he was nice. Yeah, whatever.
Take it when you can, right?
I mean, hey, more power to the kid. I mean, if people want to give him, these deals, who am I to say no? He's earned.
Who is he to say no?
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I like I said, I've seen others, times where they beat up on the person, but I'm all in favor with Wes as long as he's not taking time. It's none of my business. Is the bottom line. As long as it doesn't take away time.
We're
from,
not out here to pocket watch.
Your football responsibilities. Do what the heck you want to do, man. That's how I see things, and I highly doubt that's the case. Seems like a fully responsible person. May not be able to throw the ball, but I'm sure he can definitely do a commercial shoot. So, hey, more power to the man. Hey, I hope he just gets his bag more and more. So that's all I really had to say on it. And I do plan on pulling the clip saying with her stating that I was right. So look forward to that. Now, with that being said, on to Tennessee. Apparently, this is their Super Bowl, but just based on national coverage, which we'll get into. But just keep it consistent here. You got Tennessee at a glance. We have Josh Heupel entering his second season as the head coach of the Vols. He currently as you remember, he is the former coach of UCF, but with the Vols, currently has a record of 10-6. He finished 7-6 last year, 4-4 in the conference with a loss in the Music City Bowl. He recently received a contract extension. Why? I don't know. Probably because they have substandards and they live with their cousins. However, that extension added a year to 2027 with a $1 million raise that will take his salary to $5 million annually, which says they know he's not that good of a coach because that's not a lot of money. It puts him into the lower, at best, top, I want to say second or third in terms of a salary amongst coaches. It's because Vanderbilt, the private university, and therefore does not need to release their financials. All right, now moving down slightly. Now we have their offseason awards in terms of the All-SEC. Now with offense, they do have some talent, starting with wide receiver Cedric Tillman, first team All-SEC, quarterback Hendon Hooker, second team, lineman Jerome Carvin. Now on defense, you have defensive lineman Byron Young, first team, linebacker Jeremy Banks, second team, and defensive lineman Tyler Barron on third team, and with a punter back Paxton Brooks on third team. Now with some of the impact players, as I indicated earlier, the quarterback Hendon Hooker, he was there last year. Definitely, you could definitely say he lit us up. We got fortunate on a couple plays. You definitely could have lost that game, but luckily Tennessee is Tennessee, and they just find a way to lose. Period. I fully believe when they face us, they're just scared of the helmet, scared of the logo, and they just when something. I told people this. I don't care what the spread is. I think it was at 10 last time I looked. When something can go wrong, there will go wrong. It just it is what it is, and the record indicates that over the past 2 decades. All right, now Hooker has phenomenal stats on the year: 844 yards, 9.4 completion yards completion. I'm sorry, very high completion percentage. He's averaging 9.9 yards a pass. We also have 6 touchdowns with no interceptions, with 176.1 quarterback rating per ESPN. He only has 3 picks in his entire career at University of Tennessee. So he's someone who protects the quarterback, protects the ball. That's something very important, especially in that offense. But it's just overall, it's just hard to do at that position. That's something, hopefully we can, get him out of his comfort zone. And that's also just Hooker, sum him up. When Hooker gets in a rhythm, he's lights out. But when he's out of rhythm, especially early in the game, that's when he struggled. So that's something we need to pounce on him early and, hopefully, get the crowd out and take advantage of that. Now, another impact player is going to be running back Jalen Wright, 231 yards on the season, 5.1 yard average with 3 touchdowns. Now, going down to the receivers, that's where some of that's the playmakers. You have Jalen High at 18 receptions on a season, 267 yards, 14.8 average for 3 touchdowns, and very similar stats there are going to be wide receiver Cedric Tillman, 246 yards with a 14.5 average with 1 touchdown. So that, when you have that similar stats, it shows that, he may have a personal favorite, but the stats don't truly indicate that. So it makes it obviously harder to defend. Now, with that being said, this is some of the outlook that was had on the season and what some of the preseason expectations as well. They were picked to finish third in SEC media behind UGA and Kentucky, but ahead of UF. They're picked to go 8-4 by the writers at Athlon Sports, and they're currently ranked in 10th in the AP poll. We're obviously number 20, but it is what it is. Now for week 1. They pummeled Ball State 59-10, and we'll get into another how they handle leads later on. But no need to get in that game in depth. The main game to focus on is week 2. They had a huge test. They had number 24 Pitt. All right. Now, the key thing to take away from this is the Pitt's quarterback, Kadon Slow, was hurt right before the half and didn't return. But when he was in the game, he went 27-42 for 325 yards, 7.7 yard average, and 2 touchdowns. He was obviously doing a lot of damage, tearing them up through there, and that just shows the opportunity for Anthony Richardson to hopefully, get back into a groove. We can maybe start him slow with some gimme throws, get his confidence going, and like I said, keep the crowd out of it and move the ball down the field. But it's obvious because Slovis, I do like him as a quarterback, but he's not, he's not going to win the Heisman or anything. But also another player who really did well against Pitt was going to be their running back, Israel. And forgive me my pronunciation on this one, Abaconda. Going to be 25 carries for 154 yards, 6.2 yards per carry for 1 touchdown, a longer 76. So he definitely has that breakaway speed. So, like I said, it was a tight game, and then Pitt they had a turnover, and I want to say at Tennessee's, it was like within the 10 in the first half. So they definitely had some missed opportunities. So, and Pitt's they're not a top 10 team. They're a solid team, but nothing crazy. So Tennessee, you guys, some people act like this is an inevitable loss. I think that's ignorant I'm big on evidence, as you guys have heard week over week in regards to Napier and AR. Well, the evidence says Tennessee is a good to solid football team. Nothing better, nothing worse. That's just solid evidence based on the Pitt game. Okay. Now, go down here. Now, on that Pitt game, though, just to show some Tennessee stats, and Hooker, once again, it's a good quarterback. I'm not going to lie to folks. 27-42, 325 yards, 7.7 yard average with 2 touchdowns. Cedric Tillman, receiver, once again, had a great game. 9 receptions, $162, 18 yards for average, but 1 touchdown, along a 61. And as I said, him and Jalen Hyatt, they are just, 1A, 1B, 11 receptions, 73 yards, 6.6 yard average. So kind of like pick your poison with that. And with week 3, once again, it's just they killed Akron 63-6. So there's some of the takeaways thus far with Tennessee's season. It's they have playmakers as like continuously have gone over at wide receiver, and like I said, 1A, 1B, pick your poison. Luckily we have the depth at DB to combat that. They're talented, inexperienced at the quarterback position, and also he doesn't turn the ball over. They also know how to put teams away when they get a lead, and that's obvious by the first and third game. I don't care if they're FCS school. I mean, we just faced one and we couldn't do that. So I don't even want to get into that. Now for the strengths, Hirsch, you want to take over for that? You're muted. All right. So just to talk on their strengths a little bit. They do have playmakers at both wide receiver. Their strengths, offensive tempo. As we all know, Heupel's comes from that UCF family. They just go. But at the same time, that can that's not necessarily most ideal. Quarterback play, as we've alluded to, Hooker's been killing it his whole career essentially with Tennessee. He's not 100% the most accurate, but at the end of the day, he's a very good quarterback, and I'd happily take him on the Gators right now. Wide receivers, I think arguably anyone in the country would take that 1-2 punch. Offensive consistency, just based on the past 2 years between Heupel, the receivers, and that quarterback, just that trio is just something that every program in the country strives for. Even if it may not be the ideal, maybe play calling or tempo, so on and so forth. However, they're consistent, so they know their playbook. And also the pass rush. They may not always get to the quarterback, but that Pitt game, they're definitely at least getting some pressure. So what do you guys have to say and think so far about their strengths, guys?
Like you said, Mike, they're going to get consistency from the quarterback position. Hooker's going to make some – he's going to miss some throws, but he's going to make a lot more than he misses.
Yeah.
And he's got weapons. We're not going to be able to put just Marshall on one side. And just forget about the passing game like we've been able to with some of these teams we've already faced. You're going to have to cover both sides of the field. You're going to have to cover the deep thirds. You're going to have to be ready for this passing game. And you're also going to have to block these defensive ends. Our tackles are going to have their work cut out for them, and they're going to have to, work to keep this pocket around Ann as he tries to work through some of these problems he's got. Wes, you got anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, a guy that I think that they lost. The only reason I know him is because he was from South Carolina. He went to a junior college and went to Tennessee. He transferred out. Tyon Evans. Last year, he had 81 carries for 525 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's not there anymore. And he also had 4 receptions for 74 yards and a score. And last year against us, he had 11 carries for 50 yards. So that's like 4.5 yards a carry. So him not being there is a plus for us. I wanted to point that out, that, him not being there, and then one of the backs kind of got nicked up last week. They may be kind of one-dimensional, and you guys talk about Hooker and how he takes care of the ball. We haven't really seen our DBs do much this year, so this might be a game to see where we at, seeing Corey Raymond and what we can do as far as against them. So their ability and their inability to have like Utah or Kentucky trying to pound us, or even South Florida, because they did the same thing, pounding us with the ball. To me, that's a big weakness from them.
Real quick, sorry to cut you off, just before you get to dive too deep into weaknesses because we're about to touch on that. What would you say? Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on some of their strengths that they have?
Throwing the ball deep. I mean, they take shots and they're going to run tempo and try to tire you out from side to side. They're going to play from side to side. They're going to try to get your D-line tired by running a lot. They do north as far as going deep, but that spread offense a lot of times try to get you go east to west a lot to have your ends and your D tackles tired. So that can be a detriment if you don't get first down. So we'll see how that factors into this ball game as they play their first SEC opponent, which is us.
Yeah, like
yep.
Like you were alluding to, we're going to talk about some of their weaknesses real quick. One of their biggest weaknesses, and I think most will agree, especially if you follow recruiting, is their overall depth of team talent from top of the roster to the bottom. We've hit on Hooker, we've hit on the receivers. They have some talent. It's undeniable.
And some were transfers as well, Hirsch. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yes,
Hooker was a Virginia Tech transfer. So, like you said, if you look at their talent composite, it is not.
Yeah. But as we learned last week, a whole bunch of transfers can come together and give you a bit of a problem as well if you're not prepared. But depth, I'm sure, is an issue for them. I haven't deep dove into their roster like that as looking at the composite, but I know where they have recruited the last several years. I know that they lost a lot of people when Heupel came in, and you don't just replace all of those in a year.
a lot.
I think they had 25, 27 transfers in the first.
It was a mass exodus.
Yes.
And they didn't, in my opinion, bring enough in, even count whatever transfers, Nico, whatever, to make that much of a jump from a 4-4 in conference record. That's just me.
I'll give you another weakness if we really want to get technical about it. Josh Heupel is their head coach.
Well, all right. So let's just move directly to weaknesses now. I mean,
that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree with you on that. If you want to,
this is a man that UCF was happy to watch leave town. I mean, there wasn't a single person in that fan base that boost on everything that they have from like it's the best in the country. There wasn't a single one of them that was like, oh no, Josh Heupel's leaving. they were ready to, after losing to Tulsa, back-to-back years, they were ready to run that man out of town. And that was a team that was probably much more talented than almost any team that they played. But he does less with more a lot of times. And this is a big, big game for him. Maybe the biggest game he ever coached. This could possibly be.
That's not even, I mean, in my opinion, it's not even debatable, and we'll get into that. But, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think he's already coached. There's a reason that system everyone used to run that system, nobody runs it anymore. It's not sustainable. Like I had a couple of weaknesses on, and once hand it off to you in a second, Wes, their weaknesses off the tempo. It's not sustainable. So it's coming from a defensive player. I would not want to go to a school who runs that tempo. It sucks. You got 3 and out, back 3 and outs, you're screwed. It's like you're freaking screwed. Especially if you give up the inevitable like long drive, which will happen, and they get a couple 3 and outs, and especially on the outside, we match up well. We have Kimber, we have more, we have hypothetically, I'll put a hypothetical helm with detachables, but we all know that's not going to happen. But we have Brandon Marshall. Let's just say a couple, or a couple drops, so on and so forth. Things can happen. Few 3 and outs, done. And you're at that point, your defense is screwed. You're winded, and like you said, that pass rush, that's good. That's not good anymore. It's like Gervin. Like Gervin's been non-existent. He's freaking getting 89 snaps a game. So that and their run defense as well, but it's somewhat poor. It's nothing to brag about. But I know Wes was really passionate about some of this. So we want to dive a little deeper on that, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of spoke to some things that I won't rehash what I was speaking about earlier, but I mean, when I looked at the game last year, Emory probably had one of his best games of his career. I mean, Emory threw 21 for 27 for 209 yards, and we averaged 7.7 yards a carry last year against that defense. I mean, Emory carried the ball 15 times for 144 yards. Damian Pierce had 62, Malik had 45, and Naquan had 32 on the ground. So, I mean, we were able to run the ball. I know you mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but Pitt ran on them when they played. So, I mean, with them being tired and them coming back and forth, that you guys mentioned it with that high tempo offense, that can also be a detriment to your defense. And if we're running the ball like we've seen our team run the ball against Kentucky, against Utah, and against South Florida, I mean, we can really wear them down and have ball control and take care and just make them submit early, you know, especially when, and then you guys mentioned their depth. If they don't have depth and they're tired, I mean, we can run all day. We have a track meet just running the ball on them guys. So seeing what we did last year with Emory and the backs that we had with Pierce and Davis and company, I think that's another weakness for them guys.
For sure. So that being said, we'll talk about a few miscellaneous things about this game. If you haven't heard by now, College Game Day is going to be in Knoxville for this one. You know, Josh Pate's going to be there. Steve Spurrier's going to be there. I think he's guest picker for this game. Barstool.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of folks in town. It's going to be a Mike's going to have his hands full in the trenches.
Let's just say there's not a coincidence that myself and ball coach and those three media outlets are in Knoxville. I don't want to say anything to my own horn, but it's not a coincidence.
For those that don't know, former Gator Gerald Mincy is a transfer there, and he's their starting left tackle. Just a little factoid for those who may not be aware. And I mean, just you talk about it's gonna be an atmosphere, man. A sold out Neyland Stadium with the checkerboarded end zone. But a little known fact, when they do this, they're 1-4 in games where they sell out and have the checkerboard end zones. So we've got them right where we want them as far as that goes. But it's going to be loud, man. We're going to have to be ready. This isn't the friendly confines of the swamp that we've gotten used to this first three games. The boys are going to have to be able to drown it out. Tennessee does have a few injuries they're dealing with. Their leading wide receiver that Mike mentioned earlier, Cedric Tillman, was hurt on a ball that was thrown high, forcing him to leave his feet in the last game and had to leave in the first quarter of the game, missed the rest of the game. Josh Heupel was kind of tight-lipped about how he was dealing with that injury when he was asked about it a couple days ago. So, I would assume he's going to play. It's just a wait and see how much he's able to do. Dylan Sampson, he left their game with an ankle injury. And then their other running back, Jamari Small, was injured on the second play of the game against Akron with apparent upper body injury and was forced to leave the game, holding his right arm. On the season, he had rushed for 94 yards and 3 TDs in his second year. So they've got a few guys banged up just like we do. We'll have to wait and see who makes it, who doesn't. I would assume that they're going to try to have all hands on deck for this game unless it's a break or something very significant. Everybody's going to try to play in this one. So with that being said, we're going to move on and talk about, the Gators for a minute and what we need to do to try to get a W here. So we're going to start talking like we always do about the areas that we need improvement in this game. Man. I think it comes without saying, guys, the number one area of improvement has to come from the quarterback position. I mean, we hyped it up. We talked about it a lot in our raw reaction video. And if you guys haven't, like I said, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. We got pretty passionate on our conversation about the quarterback position. Mike, we already talked about it a little bit, man. We're going to have to probably try some small intermediate throws and get this kid back in his rhythm, because this is not going to be This is not going to be the environment that he's used to these first 3 weeks. He's going to be they're going to tell him every bad word in the book, and he's going to have to stare it down. So if his confidence was shaken in Gainesville,
some good old boys over there,
he might want to bring a psychiatrist with him to Knoxville. What do y'all think about? I mean, I know what y'all think, but let's hit it one more time.
In terms of what's the main, like in general, they are his mentality. I mean,
he's going to need to do, man, to get better, to be more efficient in this game. Besides complete passes.
I mean, that's the obvious. I mean, he's not doing that. Okay, so I mean, I may throw a couple more jump balls up, like with shorter. I mean, I think the receivers should help him out. I'm not throwing those 15 to 20-yard routes. I'm taking them out of the playbook because they're not being hit, bottom line. I mean, maybe if they're outs, but I mean, if that, maybe it's comebacks. I'm doing rollouts. I'm treating it as an elementary offense.
I'd like to see some more comebacks. I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I'm just like that, when you have a guy like Ricky 15 yards down the field, wide open, 5 yards on each side, and he's sailing it. I mean, normally that safety's behind him.
I'd like to see some slants, some short slants.
Well, yeah, I'll take a slant, slants or whatever. But
you got some room and space to make some
floods, mix it up. I want to see a little bit more innovative, short play calling, but like in short routes, I really do. Mix it up, get people tripped up on some man coverage, but get him. Pardon me. Run the ball as much as you can if he is in fact injured with him, but just pound the rock. I don't want to see him throw the ball more than 18 times.
Let's touch on that for just real quick while you brought it up. There's been all kinds of rumors this week that his ankle might be injured. I know Wes has heard that maybe he's got a hammy tightness or pull. Obviously, he dealt with those problems last year, and that would obviously explain him not being as liberal running the ball. But at some point, man, you got to let the kid. I mean, he's got to fight through it.
I mean, yeah, and don't say, "Oh, like Florida's a 4 or 5 win team." Okay, cool. Then we are. It's a bum class, all right. Then I don't want him for next year. He's hurt every year. Period. I don't want him. If he's hurt, if he's legitimately big time banged up again, I don't like. You can be a backup, cool, spot duty. You can be like a true 10 Tebow back only with no future development because you're not going to do anything because you're hurt every single year and you regressed. It's got to be mentally as well, mentally and physically. I don't know what's going on outside of football, but guess what? If you're on the field, if you're between the lines, you're 100% good to go. There's no excuses. Okay, if you're not ready. And you're putting in your detriment to your team, get off the field. Okay? If the person's behind you's not good enough, that's up to you and the coaches. But end of the day, there's no excuses once you're on the field. I want to hear about you being nicked up. Okay, then fine. Throw the ball. And if there's an excuse for throwing the ball and you can't throw the ball, get off the freaking field because people are trying to find if he's having headed, like literally some behind-the-scenes mental stuff. Hey, I feel bad for you. Don't play. All right, do what you need to do to get mentally right. And if you're actually physically hurt, all right, and there's nothing. People are making excuses because at the end of the day, if you're on the field, you're fine. And if you're making excuses still, like you just never played football.
Everybody's hurt.
No, I mean everyone's picked up. Are people more hurt? Yes, but guess what? There's no excuses. Oh, you don't like if a corner. Gets beat up over the top, and he had to take an injection to play. Oh, well, I took an injection, and he's hurt. Everyone's hurt. I played multiple seasons with a torn labrum. And you're not going to say, oh, well, I didn't get that sack because I had a torn labrum. No, like I just have a torn labrum. That's normal. I went to freaking, I got a stem every single day. Like, stop. People are bitching, all right? Call a spade. He's not getting the job done. I want to hear what's wrong with him. With head to toe. Just not playing well. That's all I care about. You're either good or you're bad. Period.
Wes, what you think about it, man?
Well, there's context to a lot of stuff. Fans feel like if they see number 15 on the back, he needs to play like AR. They don't care whether you, and that's kind of what you guys are speaking on. They don't care whether you're injured, whether you somebody passed during the week. They just want you to perform. And a lot of times that's just the way it is. It's just once you step on the field, once your cleats hit the grass, they want you to perform regardless of what's going on. They don't care. If they see 15 and Richardson on your back, they expect you to play like you're 100%. And a lot of times, that's the case. That can be here, neither there, but it just is what it is. I take the gray. Some people are black and white. I look into the gray. If you're, and we have to look at, like, there's no Felipe Franks on the struggling, and then there's Kyle Trask. We don't have that here. A lot of people are plugging like, I want to see the backward quarterback. We don't have that crap here. We don't have Kyle Trask sitting in the wings. I mean, we got lucky and found Kyle Trask, but that's not here. So there's a reason the coaches are saying, and he kind of said it in the press conference, like, hey, be careful because there's nobody behind you. That's real. And maybe they shouldn't have said that. Maybe that's playing in the back of his mind. Maybe that's on them for telling him, hey, be careful, AR. He said it in the press conference. They told him, hey, we all.
That is on them because it's like Mike said.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get hurt, you get hurt. I mean, you can't not play your game. And if you're not playing your game, you're putting yourself. I mean, he's killing his own confidence by not being who he is.
Yep. Which can be the top 5 athlete in the country.
You can't go out there with the mindset of I can't be who I need to be the best performer I can be. You can't do like that. You can't. That's like saying I'm going to go out there and tie one arm behind my back because it's just you can't play like that.
You can't put a player in that position where he's thinking about other things other than being who he is. And to me, that's kind of.
You mind if you say it again, please? I would like to.
You can't put a player in a position put him in a position where he can't be who he know he is. When you have him thinking instead of reacting, I hate that. To me, as the athlete, I don't want to be thinking about. We're not computers. I don't want to have all this stuff going in through my head. I want to go out and play. Tell me what to do and let me perform. Let me be me. When you have me thinking too much, then I'm a second slower. Then I'm a couple seconds slower. And in the SEC, you can't be a couple seconds slower. That's probably why some of these balls are going high, because he's thinking too much instead of playing like we saw against Utah. And I hate to reference it, and people were kind of mad at what Dan Mullen said today. That clip I heard Dan Mullen say today was absolutely right. Against Utah, it was just go out and play. Against South Florence and Kentucky, it was all these expectations, all these things going in his head. Now he's thinking too much, and he's not as comfortable as he was being the underdog. That's why I think this week is going to be a big week for him, because he's on the road, underdog, not thinking too much. He might be able to go out and play. He might be free on the road. I was the type of player that I like playing on the road. I like shutting the crowd up. To me, I got off on that. That was who I was. So hopefully that's him, and that's what he may be able to do. Because playing at home is just, to me, hey home. But to shut the fans up on the other side, that's what I live for when I played. So hopefully him being on the road will get him feeling more comfortable, that he doesn't have to appease our fan base and then rooting for him and doing all that stuff. But I mean, I don't like him thinking too much. I want him to go and be the athlete he is. And a lot of this stuff, I know we kind of talked about his decision on the goal line to throw the shorter. It wasn't a bad. I mean, we talked about it, but we want to go dive deep into that. To me, it wasn't a bad decision based on the numbers. Numbers,
it was a bad decision. No. We can run the numbers. We can run the stats. I don't want to talk all the analytics. That was a bad decision.
Let me finish. To me, in math, because like I said, I brought up Tom Brady did that to Mike Evans against the Cowboys the same night Mike Evans caught the touchdown. Numbers wise, it's not a bad play call. It's not a play call.
It is when you're already making bad throws, though.
But he just made a play. That's what I'm saying. He made a great throw to Shorter. On the same drive, he made a great throw to Shorter, and Shorter made a great catch. So it wasn't like he made a bad throw on that drive. He made a great throw to Shorter on that drive. If you look at the numbers, He gave his guy. He told his guy to make a play.
So was the ball high pointed?
No,
it wasn't because it wasn't a great throw.
Anyway, like I was saying, if you look at the numbers,
what numbers?
We were outnumbered in the box. So you go to your guy out on the side. What decision wasn't bad. All game. It was a bad throw. The throw was bad. To me, that's what it was. The throw was bad.
Was it second? Was it third down? Was it fourth down?
I don't care what the down was.
No, because that does you're saying you don't care yet you cite numbers. That's part of the numbers. That's part of the variables.
Numbers.
So you can't bring up numbers and omit a variable. You have to bring up all the numbers into the statistics. Now I got a couple of things like, okay, you say one, you are absolutely correct. Now you have to react. Like if you think you're going to lose, okay. I've been in that situation. You're thinking when you think you're a step slow, but why? And I'll get into that, but like he should know the playbook. He's a quarterback. If he doesn't know the playbook, I mean, he's Billy. He should be the one who knows it, all the checks, so on and so forth, to make all these quote unquote right decisions and great throws that haven't occurred. So if he's something's going on with him mentally, because he played fine against Utah. Would you guys agree to that? He played great against Utah. He reacted, right? Can we agree to that? Maybe not the greatest.
I feel like he was, and I will even say he was playing good against South Florida until he threw the interception, and it was all back downhill.
Okay, exactly. So you know what he is, and nobody wants to admit it. He is mentally weak. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Okay, he is mentally weak. You know who put him in his head? Himself. He proved it against Georgia. All right, and he's proven it week over week when things go awry. We can smile. I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but until he proves me wrong, what's going on here? But like I said, though, I mean, Georgia Avalanche gone. Now, in terms of Utah did phenomenal. Okay, once USF went awry, boom, went downhill again. So I mean, it goes to like truly. I mean, where has he persevered? I mean, he was a mop up in spot duty. The one game was what? FSU.
LSU.
Yes, LSU. He did play well, and he
threw 2 interceptions in that game and played well after the fact. That was the one.
And I will give him credit. Once again, I will give credit where credit is due. He played well, and also FSU. He came back, spotted Emory. But when a team has game plan for him, I'm just looking for it, and people like him because he's charismatic. They probably root for the kid like they did DeJuan Black. Well, guess what? DeJuan Black sucks. And AR is mentally weak, is a front runner, okay? And I want to be proven wrong, but until I see otherwise proof, I mean, I would like to see how I'm wrong, honestly. And people bring up practice with Kitna, or we have nothing. Guess what? We probably don't. But you cannot unequivocally say we have nothing because Tebow, and they're not the same. At all. Tebow was not good in practice. He was not a practice player. Period. So people are like, oh, we had Trask. Trask was amazing in practice. Doring's on record saying this. Okay? Now, guys, I mean, I don't think it was Doring. I think it was, Louis Mart.
I heard that.
Yeah, Louis Murphy. Louis Murphy. But end of the day,
guys,
it's just frustrating because people are omitting facts because they like the guy. They won't hurt his feelings. I don't care.
Let's roll off of this because we're going down the same road we went on the Raw Reaction show, and we're just gonna keep beating the same horse. And I think we all have our opinions on what needs to happen, and based on what happens this Saturday, it's going to go one way or the other real fast. I got a feeling, but we'll play that as it comes to us.
I just don't want people. If you don't mind, I would like to leave it at this. It's getting to probably suck, yeah. But end of the day though, sometimes the unknown's the best option, even if it's a brief. That's all.
Let's move on to something that we all kind of feel like needs to improve some and will help him maybe have a better game, is the offensive play calling. I think everyone could shout this from the mountaintops, and I don't know how you could not understand it at this point, is that this team is a running football team. But yet we've come out more often in the last 2 games seemingly passing to set up the run. And in this game, I think you just got to run, and then, let the pass happen. Open it up. I don't understand. You got to run the ball in this game, I feel like, 40 plus times. I mean, not to pull a number out of thin air. I mean, I legitimately feel like when we look at the numbers on Saturday night, it should say 40 plus runs for 250, 300 yards. I mean, and that's being generous. I feel like if the offensive line does what they can do and these backs do what they can do, I don't think just because you don't get 3 yards, 4 yards on first down, I don't think you can abandon it on second down. I think you need to plug it in there and go again. Big Torrance is on that right side. I think you need to just be running it off of his tail. I mean, all night long. And the madman that is Mr. Barber on the outside, Mike's newest fan club member.
The GOAT, bro. Man's coming up with personal fouls. First start. Let's ride.
I think we all can agree we like Naquan. Naquan serves a purpose, but I think Naquan needs to be number 3 on the chart in this game, honestly. If you're seeing a heavy dose of Naquan early, I don't have the words for it. I just don't. I mean, I know the kid's a senior. I know he's a good receiving back, but we're not throwing to the backs.
If I'm not mistaken, Montrell started last game. So hopefully, and I think Naquan came in on the second series. So hopefully.
It's all snap counts, so.
Montrell leads in snap counts on the season. I know he's up by about 5 snaps on the season on Naquan. But Naquan's still, I mean, Montrell's at like 72 and Naquan's at like 67. But that's 67 snaps, bro.
It needs to be like 1, 2.
He needs to swap places with Etienne. Etienne has like 37 snaps on the year, and that needs to almost reverse immediately. The next 3 games need to.
But we also have to keep in mind, and Nick alluded to this, we do not know how well Etienne knows his playbook.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I said. When it comes to running backs, we don't know how they hold up in pass pro. But then I pointed out when week 1, I didn't really pay attention against Kentucky and South Florida. Week 1 against Utah, Naquan wasn't good in pass pro. He got a holding call.
He wasn't good last week either. I watched some plays back.
To
Mike's point, if the starter ain't doing it on pass pro, then put the back up.
You're assuming almost like I haven't watched all 22. All right, so I'm not. I don't. You're saying he knows, but you're saying Etienne knows the plays. He may not know the plays. That's my point.
He may not be as good in pass protection either.
He may be.
My argument to that is then
call the plays that he knows when he's in.
I mean, Montrell needs more carries. Is my argument.
You can't. You got coordinators making 3.
Then you make it. Then you make it. I don't know. You make it.
I'm not talking about
2020.
Yeah,
Mike. I'm not talking about the pass plays. When it's time to pass the ball, if it's 3rd down and 7, and you know you're gonna pass, then bring your 3rd down back in. Same thing the pros do. Then you bring Naquan in. But in 1st and 2nd down, if you're gonna run like you say you want to run, like we want to run, then you put Trevor Etienne in and let him run on 1st and 2nd down.
But that's the percentages, and it's gonna stack the box. It goes run heavy.
But we already said that's what we want to do.
But
that's our game plan coming into it.
But What I'm saying though is you still want to at least have the option to at least check out of it, even if it's a check out to a quick swing route, a quick safe route. That's what I'm trying to get at.
And my point is, Trevor has caught a touchdown pass or a 2-point conversion, whichever one. He's caught balls out of the backfield.
How many?
So I have to. How many has Naquan caught out of the backfield?
I think he's asked you a question. How many?
He's caught more than Naquan.
Naquan has a whole career to go by. You're going off of a guy with 2 or 3 games in a summer in fall camp. I'm just sorry, fall camp.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Hirsch. You were saying?
No, I'm just my thing is whatever he doesn't know. I want to see Montrell get the majority of the carries.
That's the one I think we can unequivocally agree with. Knows everything.
He knows the system. He knows. I said it in the Raw Reaction episode. The kid has field vision. He knows where the holes are supposed to open up. He makes the cuts when he sees them. He hits the hole hard. He's not a guy you're going to stop most of the time in his tracks. He's a fall forward kind of kid. And that's the kind of back that I wear these defenders out, man. Punish them.
And that's something I've noticed, but like being in the crowd, people are, even watching with some friends, like, oh, he almost broke it through. It's like it's the third, fourth quarter. I'm like, yeah, well, if you ran the ball more in the first half, he would have broken through. Because these are the type of backs that, and I forgot who said it previously, it was one of you guys. They, I think it was Wes, the more and more you run it, the better backs.
And he breaks one every game of distance. Like Montrell, every game has put a.
Yeah, that was a call by AR too. He checked into that play, but based on the numbers in the box, and got Montrell. That's just to point out.
We've already moved on from AR. I'm not talking about that individual.
You don't have to talk about it. I'm just saying he checked into that play for Montrell to get that 70 yards? 60 something? Okay.
And this goes into our obviously we said the play calling needs to improve. That's where we were kind of starting that whole conversation at, and adjustments need to improve. I think we can all say that, and that's going to fuel into a stat that we're going to bring into play here in just a little bit. Coming out of half, we got to see something a little better. I feel like the second half is just a reflection of the first half, almost like we just come out and do the same thing. Despite whatever we saw wasn't working or was working, it's just like we've got to change that up a little bit. I want to see the coaching staff come out in the second half and exploit some of the weaknesses that they've seen in the first half, and that's missing so far to me. Thoughts?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Utah, it was Utah wasn't that good I wasn't impressed in play calling, and the adjustments were horrid. Kentucky, he individually cost us the game, but there was an improvement on that USF game. End of the day, you can't game plan for someone. They literally can't throw the ball. You can't game plan for it. So, but I did see a slight increase, with, they did run the ball more. I saw, run the ball later in the game more. But like when you got quarterback, only thing I want, and it's not going to happen, he needs to remove checks. Like he cannot handle it right now. So I don't know if you need to go to, like, I sound like like Jeff Tedford, some Pac-12 stuff. They look to the sideline. And, they run up to the side, run up to the line of scrimmage. They go to the sideline really quick, and then they look for the check, and the coaches make the call. Because our quarterback is mentally incapable of making a check call. Period. All right? My man's running on the first down on the 1 yard line, throwing freaking slants to the goalpost.
Thought you were done with that individual.
No, yeah. It's off the check. That's a direct thing. That's a check. Like a direct correlation for listeners. So I'm trying to paint a picture. We cannot do check. He cannot do the checks. Therefore, this needs to be removed. That's a part of play calling. However, I like the play calling has improved week over week ever since the Kentucky game. I would like it to see it progress as long as in terms of we keep the crowd out of it via, play it safe. And
let me ask you a question, Mike.
what's up?
How much do you think that correlates with players becoming more and more familiar with the install?
What's that? Just the checks or?
No. The play calling and the changing in the play calling is more coming out now because the players are more, as each week goes by, more familiar with it.
I don't know what they're putting in the install. Like I said, I don't really comment on things I'm not privy to, but it all depends what the checks are. Like if one play has a possibility to be 3 or 4, if one play is just a run or pass, that's a lot of times that's what the offense does. I just think we just need to dummy this play calling down, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's plenty of offenses they have. It's an extremely small playbook. They just have the like one play is technically like up to 4, but he's from more of that Shanahan style, and that's where it comes from. Like the Mike McDaniels and everything. Shanahan, there's one play is truly can be like 8. We're not there yet, but like we just need to keep it simple, stupid, because we're playing stupid football right now, and I'm getting tired of seeing it. Because we have the ability to play stupid football and beat people. We could easily play stupid football, just run the ball, throw simple out routes, and we're number 5, like 6, 7 in the country. We're not going to win an national championship. We're not good enough. But we can easily comfortably be top 10. So we face all inferior teams significantly when we hold the superior talent advantage.
Wes, what's your thoughts on the play calling?
I would like to run the ball more. I spoke about that raw reaction. I don't want the checks taken away. To me, like the 70-yard run, that was a check call. So to me, things like that, to me, it's not the mental part as far as his decisions. Okay, where the ball's supposed to go. What should we be doing? To me, it's more of a physical thing with AR. If you look at his fundamentals and how he's hitching and think like not what I was saying about how he's like thinking before he throws. To me, that's the thing that to me that matters most. I know that big throw in the end zone was a thing, and I keep referencing what Tom Brady did as far as with the numbers. And the reason why I bring that up, and we all talked about how we were running the ball. Like I watch every game, not every game, but I watch a lot of NFL, a lot of college. To that point, what Mike was saying, and what I think you said it too, Hirsch, about we should have just pounded the ball in. Leonard Fournette was gashing the Cowboys out. He was getting 6 yards a carry. I just lit up 6 yards a carry. First down on the goal line. Number say throw the ball to Mike Evans. Tom Brady threw the ball to Mike Evans. He didn't give it to Leonard Fournette, even though Leonard was gashing the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were on Tom Brady all night. Michael Parsons was sacking. I know I don't want to talk about Tampa Bay and the Cowboys, but I'm giving that situation as the same. This was a similar situation. And he did we were gashing him, and the numbers say, hey, go there. That's why I said maybe I probably wouldn't have done it being me because it was South Florida. But if you play in Georgia, those are the type of decisions you have to make when you play in Georgia, and they're stacked D-line. Then maybe you check out and
question and bounce out.
Go ahead.
Just one. Literally, I'm out. I'm not even gonna.
Go ahead.
Who do you trust more? Tom Brady on a fade to Mike Evans, or Anthony Richardson to Justin Shorter? Just that's all. No, and honestly, you don't have to answer, but that's the question that you and listeners. I do apologize that you had to listen to that. Wes, feel free to go.
Yeah, to my point, what I was saying, and to sort of answer your question, was it the right decision? If it was Kyle Trask, we would have been fine with it. The reason why is because
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because you are absolutely correct. If that's Kyle Pitts and that's Kyle Trask, I am absolutely okay with that because that's two Heisman candidates. So you just proved my point that AR and Justin Shorter should not have that play. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're gonna let me?
Thank you for digging your hole and
I didn't cut you off.
Into the coffin.
I
appreciate that.
I never cut you off. I let you talk. Can I finish talking? That's all I ask. Can I finish talking?
I'll buy a glass.
That's all I ask. All right. So like I was saying, because the end result, if there's a touchdown, nobody says crap. People get mad like when they do an onside kick. Well, they shouldn't have done the onside. They shouldn't have gone for a fourth. In 2020 hindsight, people can say what they want, but if he throws a touchdown, this is not even a conversation.
If he throws an incomplete pass, it could be an incomplete pass.
I heard you can go ahead, man. We can move on to the next. I can't finish, but I never cut that man off. I let him talk. Go ahead, Hirsch. Go ahead.
Pass.
All right, let's get it on down the road here, boys. We're all passionate about wanting our team to perform well, and that's all it comes down to. Going back to what I was saying a second ago, though, about third quarter adjustments and things of that nature, we had a tweet sent out today by Nick Marcinko from Gator Country about Florida's scoring breakdown by quarter. Currently this year, Florida scored 13 points in the first quarter, 41 points in the second quarter, 0 points in the third quarter, and 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Oh, my God.
The Gators have failed to score a point in the third quarter this year. That is not how you set the tone coming out of the half. I mean, that's good football teams come out and put your foot on their throat, and we're not doing that.
I don't even think we're putting a pinky on our throat.
No. We're putting no presence on the throat whatsoever.
Are we putting a request on our throat?
Yeah, we're not even asking if we could approach the throat.
Pause.
God.
Pause. Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa. Simmer down, bro. Simmer down. No, I think that's absolutely terrible, to be honest. I mean, just like, especially, when you take on ownership of, being an offensive play caller. I mean, like I said, I saw some, improvement. I know we don't necessarily have the best players, but to say we don't have talent on that offensive side of the ball is actually an absolutely ignorant and asinine statement. So the fact that you don't have a field goal, Kentucky was, the points were blatantly there. You just faced USF, who got boat raced by multiple teams. So the fact that I'm literally still in awe, I can't get my eyes off of it, that there's a goose egg. I mean, I don't know it's what's truly and why how it's occurred, because I mean, you're coming out with a script as well. I mean, it just absolutely makes zero sense. So why this is truly happening? It's because, like I said, there's just 3 different games. Utah, okay, UK. Let's just call it a high pressure, SEC game. A lot on the line. AR in his nerves, he was a little nicked up. But there's absolutely no excuse you don't score versus USF. Okay, and that's once again the Gator standard. Billy Napier. Don't make it. Keep the standard. And I'm tired of people like, oh, well, this, all that, AR. No, stop making excuses, because there's not even a freaking field goal up there, and we have a good field goal kicker. It's not Austin Harden. Okay? So we can't even cross the 50, So once again, it goes to people want to make freaking excuses and not hold people accountable. Okay? That's not, and you can hold somebody like Napier and AR accountable and still project them to do well. But the point, though, and the problem is they want to make excuses and just have blind freaking hope, okay? And that just can't occur.
You're on mute, Hirsch. Hirsch, you're on mute. Hirsch, you're on mute.
Sorry, guys. I let Mike do his thing, and I put it on mute a lot, so I could sit back and relax. Another series of stats from our friend David Soderquist from the Getting Swamp podcast. Make sure y'all check out David. About the rushing breakdown for this season. And our leading rusher, obviously, Montrell Johnson, has 240 yards on the season. That's 9.6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, with 9 runs so far over 10 yards. Phenomenal early stats for Montrell. Second, Trevor Etienne, 172 yards for the freshman, an average of 7.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns with 7 runs of 10 yards or more. Even just more great production from the freshman there. And then third is the senior Naquan Wright, 99 yards, 4 yards per carry, not terrible yards per carry, I mean, but only one touchdown and one run of 10 yards or more.
That goes back to my point. I can go ahead first or no?
Yeah, go right ahead.
To touch on Mike's last point about the third, I looked at that those numbers. Utah, I think we had the ball one time in the third quarter. So, I mean, there's nothing we could do. We could score on the one time we had the ball, but against Kentucky, I think we had to pick. It was a pick or something 2 times. But South Florida, like Mike said, no, you got to score. You get the ball, you got to score against South Florida. One. You punt your first time, and I think we scored the rest of the game against Utah. We punted one time in the second half, so I'm not gonna be mad when we scored in the fourth quarter, but that's cool. But this goes back to what I said earlier about the question you just asked about the running backs. You got to find a way to get ETN. I want Montreal to take the majority of the carries, but you got to find a way to get ETN on the field and let Naquan be your third down back if you don't feel safe with pass protection. But as you said, Utah. Naquan had his struggles. You said against Kentucky, you saw him having struggles. So you got to get ETN those other maybe 20%. Let's give Montreal 60 and give the other two 20 and 20. I don't know if it's 70, 30. I don't know what to do as far as the carry, but I need ETN more of ETN, especially if we're going to be running the ball hard with a special group of offensive linemen that we have. Austin Barber, Mike's guy, has came on and field take Mark Taquan's spot very, very well. So the offensive line is still intact. We're healthy. We got to pound the ball. And most explosive guy is ETN. So you got to put him in there more. I'm looking for more from ETN, but I want Montreal to go to 70, maybe 70%. If that takes more from Naquan, I don't care. You don't have to give it to Trevor. Just more from Naquan. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, just to really piggyback off that, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you on the running back snap distribution. However, like Naquan had a good game stat-wise last week. So there's still, once again, I'm not saying you're doing it because I agree with you. But there's no excuse we shouldn't have points. The stats are there. Like, they were pretty much all the same. So, like, we just not scoring. Where are you learning about your team? First 2 games, fine. You know what? Shit happens. It is USF, okay? Like, BYU put 28 in the freaking first on them. Boat race them. You got them at home. And not to mention, we're leaving out, these are 3-night games. These are not road games. Okay, so you're not playing on you're not the hostile environment of Raymond James
crowd
Stadium.
The entire game.
It's freaking ridiculous, man, and and we're not going to score in the third again.
Yeah,
I can only go in the trenches so long.
I would have felt better if it was Kittner starting the third quarter this time around, but
Engel, but I mean, I'll settle.
Well, he's
got knows his name now.
Yeah, your boy got passed today. By Kittner.
I mean, it's obvious.
Hey, moment of silence for poor Mr. Engel.
I mean,
all right, guys, let's
pour one out pour
one out for Mr. Engel. All right, let's get to it. Every week, we select our impact players of the game, and we're going to go ahead and do that now. So, without further ado, Mike, who's your player? Who's your impact player?
I try to mix it up just a little bit. I initially went with Brandon Cox, just based on this. He gets some pressure on Hooker. Cause some incomplete passes. It's going to be huge. Stop that tempo and indirectly, sets the offense. But then I thought a little deeper, and this writing this up a little bit. They're going to have 2 receivers. Marshall's going to do his. But Jalen Kimber, the UGA transfer, just had a pick last week and has performed admirably these last couple games. And he's just truly come on. And if we hit 2 of those corners for their receivers, 1A, 1B, and we can play a man coverage on those 2 guys, Like that's going to help us out tremendously. Because in my opinion, they definitely don't have a big time tight end or anything to worry about. So we can just play man coverage, generate some legitimate pressure. I don't know if Tony's going to open up the playbook for him, but I think we can if those two, I don't like the word lockdown, but it can truly, if you keep each one under 70, 80 yards, like that's a win. That's a freaking win. So I have Jalen Caber, cornerback CB2 for University of Florida as my impact player.
Wes, I think you're going to go to the other side of that, aren't you?
Yeah, I kind of picked offensive guys the last 2 weeks. Week 1, I picked Patrick Tony against Utah. And this week, I'm going with Jason Marshall just because he hasn't really – I think they threw a couple slants or a comeback in front of him this week. Last week. This might be he's really gonna earn his money, so to speak, this week, and see if he's who we hope and think he is. He's the next great DB, first round pick that we have on this roster. And I should have said Corey Raymond because this is his squad. We know what Tennessee's gonna do. They're gonna throw the ball, and we want to see if our corners can hold up. And me and Mike kind of disagree on Trevez, but if Kimber and Jason Marshall, and I don't know, this is I guess a question for you guys. Can I slot? Are we that confident? Because we love Kimber and we love Jason Marshall.
I like Trevez, by the way.
I want to see what, and this is me talking now that just came out. How do you guys feel about the slot position? I know first, Hirsch, go ahead and do your impact player, but that's a conversation that worries me. Because I'm not as high on Trevez as Mike is.
My impact player, I initially was going to take Montrell, but Mike took him last week, and I kind of think that's low-hanging fruit at this point. I mean,
yeah,
Montrell should have a big game. I mean, it shouldn't even be it should be an afterthought. So I'm going to pick a unit instead, which might be cheating, but I'm going to pick the O-line. I think the O-line can dictate how this game goes and do it from the get-go. I want to see the offensive line get pushed. I want to see a less talented Tennessee defensive line get whipped. I mean, just an old-time, running game, just dogfight of just offensive line just beating the defensive line off the snap, pushing them downfield. Just creating those huge lanes like we've seen Montrell run these huge runs through and NTN get these, just gashing and hitting their assignments, not just at the point of attack, but the next level. Pick up your linebacker, pick up whoever's your assignment is on your pull, whatever it may be. I just want to see him driving people off the ball, driving them down the field. I want to see Ethan pancaking people. I want to see Torrance just riding a guy 20 yards downfield. And it should happen. There's that should be the game plan. I'm not the coach. I'm not on the staff, but to me, it's as clear as day. You go out there and you ride and die behind your offensive line in this game. And maybe as a bonus, they can provide AR a comfortable enough pocket where maybe he can get some easy, comfortable throws off, and we can see him right the ship that he's dealing with right now. So that's my prediction. Before we move on, maybe we can add that to the keys to victory, Wes. Your concern about the slot man, as we get into what we like to call every week is our keys to victory. And Wes, I'll go ahead and I'll let you lead that off, man.
Yeah, my keys to victory: 4 things: run the ball, and then run it some more. That's what we have to do. We have to ball control, keep them on the sideline. They're a high tempo offense on the sideline. Have them try to make a play. With those type of offenses that used to scoring, they scored 60 something last week. Have them antsy and coming on like, hey, we got to do something fast because we haven't been on the field for 6 or 7 minutes. Kind of like what Utah did to us game 1 in the third quarter where we didn't get the one possession in the third. Let's keep them on the sideline. Number 2, turnovers. And AR, I'm looking at you. You've been the one turning the ball over. Can't turn the ball over. Got to do better there. I think he has 2 the last 2 games, so that's 4. And Tennessee, we know they're gonna throw it. We've been rotating a lot of guys in on the D line. So there's a lot of guys that we have that I believe that can get off the passer, Boone, coming off the bench and sapping some others. So I would like to see us. Football is a complementary sport, whether you look at it special teams, offense, defense. Same thing with you usually look like a defense. D line helps the corners. Corners help the D line. So hopefully our D line can get some pressure on Hooker, make him feel uncomfortable, make him force some things, and that way we see if our corners can come through. And my last point is, it's gonna be loud. I mean, it's gonna be like Utah was week 1 for us. It's gonna be loud down there in Neyland. They got game day there. A lot of people are gonna be in town. Y'all already named the 3. Josh Payton. It's gonna be bumping down there in Neyland. Keep them out of the game. Run the ball. To my point 1, and we keep them out of the game. Hey, then we improve our chances to win. So those are my key points to the game.
Mike?
Yeah, so it's gonna be Wes had a couple of the same ones, but the main thing is you gotta keep get their offense off the field, and like I said with Kimber and Cox earlier, that's gonna help out our defense as well. Oh, I'm sorry. You got to get their offense off the field, which is going to in turn help out our offense. So just protect the ball, run the ball, keep the crowd out of it, and my biggest thing, just 1 first down. You got to get 4, 5, 6 yards. That's going to be tremendous. Not only on the just offense is AR. It's get him in the position to succeed. I don't know. I have zero expectation. I hope he makes me look like the biggest clown in the world. I truly do. But I think winning first down will set him up, give him the best opportunity to succeed and the Gators to win. And no crowd's gonna cheer when you get 4 or 5 yards of clip on first down.
I already touched on some of mine a little bit with my impact player being the offensive line. I want to see. I think a key is obviously the offensive line to dominate their assignments each and every play, and just take their assignments out of the play. I think that'll go a long ways to determining obviously how our offense flows. Another one, discipline. First game on the road, going to be loud at first at least. I mean, from the get-go, it's going to be loud. 100,000 overall wearing orange heads. You've got to watch the ball. If you're on the defensive side, when you're on the offensive side, look down, make sure you know when that ball's supposed to be snapped. Don't jump off sides. Good God Almighty, please, kickoff return team, save us the heartache. Don't hold anybody this week. I don't even, fair catch it if it's in the end zone. Let's not give ourselves any undue pressure. Start, and that goes to another one, field position. Win the field position battle. We seem to be playing behind in the field position battle each and every week. I mean, we don't do ourselves any favors. Can we please quit starting our drives inside the 20? You know what I mean? I'd like to see maybe a block punt this week, or at least, make them shank one, something. Give us some good field position. Take a little pressure off AR. And that goes to my last point is smart play calling. Just let's not overthink it. Let's run the ball hard, set up pass, short intermediate passes. Let's get the confidence right. Maybe take a big shot over the top somewhere in there to let them see that arm. Hopefully it's on target. Even if it's not, maybe it backs him up a little bit, but he's going to have to complete some passes to get that respect. So that being said, guys, it's time for our score predictions, and we're all Gators, and we're not going to pick our boys to lose. So rain, sleet, or shine. let's make these predictions. Mike.
Tennessee is the better football team because they actually have a competent player quarterback. However, and if they were actually facing any team but us, they'd win this game. That actually if you put any logo but ours, they win this game. However, I don't know how to explain it. Against the University of Florida, the Volunteers will find a way to lose. So I have us, by the grace of God, coming out of Knoxville, shocking the world, 23-20.
Wes.
Wes is muted because he's not ready to shock the world.
I guess I'm gonna repeat this. To Mike's point, if Felipe Franks and Treon Harris can beat Tennessee,
AR can. There's a period.
then AR can. 24-23 Gators.
Man, we're right in the same ballpark. I got 24-21.
It ain't gonna be pretty.
It ain't gonna be pretty.
And we shouldn't be winning this game.
All right. Well, I guess we'll all know Saturday, and we'll either have an ecstatic Mike in the trenches, or Mike might be on Barstool later that night in a fight in the stands in Knoxville.
It's gonna be me and Big Cat going at it. It's gonna be.
Goodness,
I'll be there Friday through Sunday.
Content will start rolling in. We'll have content all weekend from Mike in the trenches from good old Knoxville, Tennessee.
Just follow the thread.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for the Pick 'em. And boy, is Hirsch excited to talk about the Pick 'em this week. After another exciting week of college football, Hirsch won the week 7-3 against his co-hosts that both went 5-5 on the week, giving Hirsch a commanding 2-game lead, 21-9 on the season over Mike, 19-11 on the season, and our man Wes, a man of risk, is down there at 16-14.
Is Wes the modern day version of Jeff Fisher?
Just treading water down there. Just treading.
My man just floats, man.
Coming right ahead of the 500 mark.
I think y'all jipping me, man.
Jipping you.
All right, guys, we got one more week of kind of suspect games before we really get to a solid slate. So we're going to bang these out. And we got a few good ones in here. And we're going to start it off with one of the better ones, Clemson at Wake Forest. Mike, hit us off.
What? You want me to go? I got Wake.
Ooh, Mike going right out with the underdog.
Clemson can't. Clemson, if you put Wake's quarterback on at Georgia Tech, they would have won that game. Clemson can't beat a competent quarterback.
All right, Wes, what you think?
Clemson.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with the rock.
Will Shipley is a dog.
Huh?
Woo. This is a Will Shipley fan account.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Rock Petters, the Clemson Tigers. All right. And this is one of those games that's kind of suspect, but Maryland at Michigan. Michigan ain't played nobody. And Maryland rolls in 3-0 as well. The Fighting Copelands. Wes, you get to pick first this one.
I'm going to go with the khaki pants. We'll go with Old Harbaugh on this one. They're at home.
Mike?
Pretty sure if I research is correct. Most all the time it's not. They're on the backup quarterback, so I'm definitely going with Baby Tua, who's been killing it lately. Cope's like the third best wide receiver. It's gonna be a significant dub, and I'm gonna be checking the spread on this. I may be.
Are you picking Maryland?
100%. Brother, do you not know Yoshi's my Nintendo character?
I was about to say the only Yoshi I recognize is in Mario Kart.
Wow. I'm an assassin, man. Bro. I'm like Jason Bourne.
All right. We got to go back to College Station this weekend to the
cold. What's yours?
Arkansas at Texas A&M.
What was your Michigan pick?
Oh, I'm picking Michigan. My fault. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm taking Michigan because I don't trust Maryland at all in anything. I don't bet on. I like totals. All right, Arkansas at Texas A&M. Mike, who you think?
I'm gonna go with this. Is gonna be an ugly game. However, they're gonna get their best receiver back. They're getting some talented players. A&M's getting some talented players back. It's at A&M. Jimbo actually has a quarterback, Max Johnson, who fits his archaic system. So I'm going TMU.
Wes?
I mean, Mike has picked opposite of each game. That's how I'm gonna come back. Razorbacks, Arky, Sam Pittman, baby. Can't stand Jimbo.
Pick Suey. No, I'm not going there. I'm gonna go ahead and take A&M.
Hey, you don't pick with your heart. That's how you wind up with Wes's record.
Nah. I did that week one.
I actually have faith in Max Johnson now. A&M was very beatable in that game versus Miami if Miami had a quarterback making throws, but apparently he doesn't want to play in front of a crowd or in front of no crowd.
Why are you acting like you're quoting the guy?
That's what he said.
My bad. My bad, Mr. TVD. Wisconsin at Ohio State. Wes?
Buckeyes.
Oh, Lord. Mike?
Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State's got to drop a game. It's not going to be this one. Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Ohio State University.
Oof. I don't know if that trademark went in for the. I think.
Number 5 on the slate. USC at Oregon State. The Beavers. Mike.
Can I get a time of day for this?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I think it's a late game. I think it's like
9:30. Tell him what you tell me. What he always tells me. You should have been prepared. Make him.
Listen, no. To my credit, I put spreads on my sheets for y'all. I give y'all spreads.
Oh man.
You about to bend over and spread on this pick.
It's gonna be on the West Coast, so it's probably a night game. It's probably like 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock Pacific time.
In the Beaver Stadium.
I mean, it's 7 o'clock Pacific time.
You know what? Screw it. Give me the Beavers.
That game is at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Pacific?
Yeah.
No, Eastern. My bad. I can't read.
So I was right. It was about 7 o'clock.
Who you picking?
Yeah. You said the Beavers.
Not the
Beavers.
Trojans. And Cornvallis or whatever?
Hey, Hurst, I'm coming back, baby. Hey, Hurst, I'll be in second place by next week, man. I'm coming back. Trojans, you already know who I'm picking because I'm telling you.
You better hope to God he don't win and you'll never hear the end of that. This clip will be saved and replayed ad nauseum.
Hey, so play it back. Wes is back. Trojans, Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley, and the receiver, I can't remember his name for Pitt that transferred over to USC.
Addison.
His name is Jordan Addison. His name is Jordan Addison. His sponsorship deal with United Airlines. We got to do our research, kids. Don't be like Wes.
He doesn't play for Florida Gators. I don't care about him.
Yeah, I'm going to pick USC in this one. I just can't. I can't bet on that one. All right.
Trust the guy who picked App State, baby. He'll take you.
But he's still in second place. Baylor at Iowa State. West.
Baylor.
Oh,
Baylor. Baylor.
All right, Mike.
I'm picking Baylor, not as confident as I want to be, though.
Not Mike Hurst. You going with Iowa State? Sound like when I said Baylor.
No, I'm going with Baylor.
Okay. I thought I had you for a minute.
I don't trust Matt Campbell at all, ever.
They can't score,
except when I picked them to beat Iowa and was right.
Me too. I was right on that one too.
But only because I knew Iowa.
He'd never beat them. I'm sorry. I go with historical data.
This should be a barn burner. Notre Dame at UNC. Mike. That's why I picked it. I knew this was a stumper.
At UNC?
At UNC, baby.
What's the win? I don't know. Got to think about this.
Yeah, that's a Tar Heel.
Let's go Tar Heels, baby. My old roommate had to pass his 40 time for an old lineman there. Palm Bay High alum. Let's ride. That Mabel. Hey, listen. Them boys, Notre Dame sucks. All right. Freeman can't coach. Okay. And UNC scores a lot of points.
Yeah, they're cussing at the court. What his name is? Tommy Reese was
cussing the quarterback out.
The quarterback out. Do your job. Yeah, I'm going with North Carolina Tar Heels. Notre Dame got a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yes, sir. Go Tar Heels. We'll all take them. All right, this one might give you a trick a little bit. We got to think on this one. USF at Louisville.
I'm going with quarterback. Louisville. Cost me a couple weeks ago against Florida State, and I hope they don't do it to me again. I'm gonna go ride with Louisville again, man.
Louisville, Mike.
No, Louisville's gonna win easily because they have a quarterback, unlike the 40ers.
Easily, like they did against.
I'd take that quarterback on our team right now to start.
Oh my gosh.
Who, Bryant?
Malik Cunningham.
Absolutely. I'm thinking Malik Bryant. Ooh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Hands down. We'll be on the
I threw this one in as kind of a curveball after what USF showed us this week, but I'm going to go with Louisville myself because that kid at quarterback for Louisville is a fun. He's fun to watch.
They should have beat Florida State.
They should have, but their defense. They decided to match up a 5'8" corner on a 6'7" receiver and thought that was a good way to go.
Never gave him help.
All right. Texas at Texas Tech. Believe Mr. Ewers is still out for Texas in this game. Mike?
Like how you guys always go to me. By the way, the latest.
We do not.
He's switching. He's switching every time.
Always go to me. Always go to me.
He's switching it every time, man.
You know what? My mind's telling me no.
No, God, don't do it. I apologize for the car speakers.
All right, so I can't go with Texas here. I'm going Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders?
Lubbock, Texas. The pride of Lubbock, Texas.
Wes? Texas Tech.
My God.
No. I'm not going with them. I was going. They disappointed me last week. I picked them and they lost. And now I want to pick them. Old boy's still out. But I'm going with I'm gonna flip on them. I'm going with Texas this time.
Yeah,
Texas disappointed me.
Texas still has arguably the best running back in the country, and I'm gonna ride with them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ride with Texas. God, it's painful to bet on Texas because you know they're gonna disappoint you.
Mike pick the Raiders.
Mike picked the Red Raiders. Mike's trying to get some
distance.
Yeah, he's going to either I'm gonna run him down or he's gonna catch you, Hurst. It's either way.
My own path.
Either he's gonna run you down or I'm gonna catch him. It's gonna be either
all
way
right.
for Mike.
Last game. Oregon at Washington State. Washington State's 3-0 going into this game. And now we're going to find out. Wes, go ahead and pick, because I want Mike to think if he wants to bet on a Bo Nix team.
I'm going with Bo Nix in Oregon, just so Mike can pick Washington State.
I'm going with Bo Nix just proved last week how incapable of competent football the Pac-12 and how seriously the West Coast takes football. But that on just utter destruction that occurred. So don't let an undefeated record fool you. It's like people who think, well, Levis is good at football. So I'm taking the Fighting Ducks. Go Phil Knight.
That is some elite spin work right there, folks.
I just speak the truth, man.
He was able to make his pick without saying how he truly feels. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Ducks myself, just because I feel like after the way they looked last weekend, they better dang well walk in there and win. All right, guys. Well, that's another good week of Pick Ems. We'll see how it turns out, and we'll let y'all know. And we'll find out who knows ball. But, guys, another great show in the books. I know we're all kind of hoping for the best this weekend, kind of bracing ourselves for the worst. Not an easy spot to be in as a fan, but, you know, you take these lumps with a brand new coach, new staff. You knew you weren't going to win every game, so you kind of just go in thinking you're going to win every game and deal with it afterwards. It is what it is. But hopefully when we do our Raw Reaction show Sunday, we'll all be talking about all the great plays that happened and not any real bad ones. And we may have a special guest for our Raw Reaction as well on Sunday. We'll keep y'all posted on that. But in the meantime, make sure y'all are keeping an eye on us out there. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Respect Our DCN. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Respect Our Decision. On Facebook, the Respect Our Decision group. We'll have a TikTok page set up here soon to have y'all check out, and we'll be posting videos probably from Mike in the trenches this weekend and other things going on in the world of the Florida Gators. And as always, guys, make sure you just go out there and download each and every episode on every podcast provider that you may use, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. You know what the deal is. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Respect Our Decision. Like I said before, give a like on a video, hit the notification bell, so every time we upload any kind of content, you'll get a notification that it's there and you can go check it out. And as always, if you'd like to support us as creators, check out our Patreon, Respect Our Decision. Like I said, we'll be having a giveaway here in the next week or so, as well as exclusive content coming to that. So without any further ado, before we kick it to Wes, Mike, you got anything you want to add?
It's obligatory Bateman Goddess.
Hashtag Bateman Goddess. Wes, send us home.
Yeah, appreciate it, Hers. Again, thank you guys for all the support. Got 10,000 today. Appreciate you guys. Continue to support us, like her said. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you know, or if you're a veteran yourself, please reach out to us. Get in contact with us if you have any questions about how to get your benefits as far as you're a veteran or you know someone that is a veteran. Again, thank you guys. We love this. We love you guys. We love Gator Nation. So without your support, we wouldn't be here. So thank you guys again. And go Gators. And AR, please give me something to talk to Mike about Sunday, please.
And just real quick, you can't win it because I'm on record saying I want to be wrong. You do know how easy of a spin this is?
It's all easy spins for Mike. Let's just
that's what
Mike is Skip Bayless. I already know how to deal with Mike.
First of all, don't ever disrespect
me.
All right. We'll catch y'all Sunday, Gator Nation. We love you.
All right.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.